thank you so much for being with us on this LTH product briefing.
My pleasure, Nikki. Thanks for having me.
We're very excited to see BlueJ diagramming. And Ben, you and I have known each other for some time. And I know BlueJ Legal has been around for a little while. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are as a founder, what led you to develop BlueJ Legal in the first place?
Sure. I'm a law professor. I'm speaking to you from my office here at the law school at the University of Toronto. BlueJ really comes out of my academic work. I'm a tax law professor here at the University of Toronto. It was back in late 2014, early 2015, I became extremely excited about the utility of artificial intelligence and machine learning in tax law specifically. It became extremely clear to me I was leading a reform of the first year curriculum and how we teach JD students here at the law school. And it became obvious to me that we needed to build the curriculum and approach the curriculum from the perspective of where the legal profession is going in the next 10 and 20 years. And it was through that questioning, where's law going in the next 10 or 20 years, that it became absolutely obvious to me that I needed to do something about this because AI and machine learning were going to really, really deeply affect law. I had a fear at that time that if I didn't do something personally about it, I was going to be clinging to my chalk at the law school sometime in 2040 and feeling that I'd completely misspent my academic career focusing just on the ideas behind the law and not actually being part of making the law change and being a participant in this adventure. And so that was coming up on 8 years ago with the latest developments with ChatGPT and large language models. I feel like it really is now the time that we're starting to see what I originally foresaw back in 2014 and 2015 it's actually starting to happen.
And so that was 8 years ago, essentially, that you founded BlueJ Legal using from the very beginning some form of AI, of machine learning. And today, the product briefing, we're really focusing in on one of the BlueJ Legal products. I know you have several. This one is BlueJ Diagramming. Can you tell us a little bit about how this product came about and also what problem it seeks to solve?
Sure. One of the things that BlueJ more generally solves for is transactional lawyering, and in the tax context, tax planning, and coming up with efficient structures to accomplish transactions. Diagramming grew out of that exercise. And what we learned from our customers, from transactional attorneys, is that they really experience a lot of frustration creating diagrams in PowerPoint. We learned that's something that we can absolutely help with as part of the BlueJ interface, the BlueJ product journey. And so we started with a feature within the tax research platform, the tax optimization platform, that allowed our users to draw the transactions that they are seeking to optimize. And that's what we're talking about today. So I'm going to be showing you this diagramming product.
Fantastic. Well, let's jump into a demo and show people what it does.
So where we've landed in the platform is in Legal Tech Hub demo workspace. It has a number of diagrams in it already. I'm going to pull up a couple of them just to show you the power of BlueJ diagramming. So this is an example of a double dummy structure. It's very complicated. Tax people will understand this, and you can zoom out and zoom in on different parts of the transaction, move the canvas around, zoom back out, focus on those parts that you're really interested in. I'm going to go back to the workspace and show you an estate planning example here, and I'll zoom in so you can really see what's going on.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you can zoom in and zoom out. Presumably, you can also move the individual pieces around.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these things move really nicely around. But let's create one here as we're running the demo. So there are two different ways. I'm going to click Start a New Diagram here, and I can choose to start from a blank canvas, or there are dozens of templates inside BlueJ that are designed to do the sort of diagram that you might be interested in. So if I want to filter them by mergers, look, I can pull up a reverse triangular merger and create that. It's got all the default pieces right where they would be, and it's immediate. You can start customizing it for your own preferences. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to start from a blank canvas. And what I'm going to do is create a very simple structure with three corporations. And we're going to do what a transactional lawyer would call an upstream merger, Nikki. So we're going to pull this corporation down from the top bar here. And then using our quick create feature, I can just pull down and then add another corporation, another corporation. We've got our 3 corporation structure very, very quickly here. What I'm going to do is start adding some metadata. So the metadata is, a very important part of these diagrams, how you can communicate what's going on here. So this is corporation, we'll call it corporation X. It's a corporation. Importantly, it's a C Corp, and we'll just click out of that. And you'll see that that information has found its way onto the diagram in just the right place where you'd want it. Now let's add a little bit of metadata for these other ones as well. So corporation Y, and then we'll add corporation Z here. And there we've got our basic structure here. One of the things you might want to do is change the color of one of these diagrams, so corporations, so we can create any custom color. We might want kind of fond of blue, so I'm going to find some of the blues here. I think that one looks good. But if you know the hex code, you can just enter the hex code and use that. But then we've got that standardized color. So Corp Y is now this nice blue color. We might want to indicate the percentage ownership that Corp X has of Corp Y. So if we double click here, we can change this relationship and we'll say it's a share ownership, and we'll say we want to enter the percentage and say, let's say 80%. Immediately, you can see all this information coming onto the diagram indicating who's the owner, how much they own. If I want to suppress any of this from showing up, I can easily do that. So just by clicking this visibility toggle. And so now we've lost the indicator of which party actually owns it, because a lot of times it's really obvious from the structure of the diagram and folks will be familiar with it. But whatever you want to add or not see on the diagram, very easy to do.
And so that data is still there. It's just not showing on the diagram.
Exactly. And like having that data there is really important. We're not going to get into it in the short demo, but when we talk about intelligent diagramming, having that information in the diagram, embedded in the diagram, is very, very helpful for getting into some of the deeper features of understanding what's going on and working with these diagrams, especially when you have cascading changes across different steps of a transaction. I'm going to rename this.
Sorry to interrupt again. Is there a place separate to the diagram where all of the data sits together so that you can also see it in a different way, or is it primarily through the diagram?
Yeah, it's primarily here. There are other ways of accessing the data as well. So if you create a PDF of the diagram, it'll also list out a lot of that metadata, and you can see it separately as part of the export. What I'm going to do now is, because we want to do an upstream merger, so what I'm going to do is actually just move this corporation X over, and I'm going to add some individual minority shareholders here, and they're going to own the other 20% of the shares. So I'm going to add them in.
And unlike Visio, you don't have to worry about the lines matching up in the right places.
Everything's just, it makes it very easy. So I'm going to label this minority shareholders. And I'm also going to lose that ownership label again, just to make it look a little bit cleaner. So now we've got the minority shareholders, the corporation. Now what we want to do is illustrate that this is going to be a merger. So I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to create an action here. And the action that I'm going to create is a merger. And I'm going to put a red color on this just to really draw attention to it. So because we're merging Corp Y into Corp X, I can show that Corp Y is going to be dissolved on this merger. So I check the dissolve button and it shows that it's going to be dissolved. I'm going to do the same thing with the share ownerships because they're going to be dissolved with this transaction. I'm going to move the ownership percentage labels here out of the way. So the other thing you can do, you can add things like a group, right? So let's say we want to show that these two corporations are part of a subsidiary group. I'll move the merger label here a little bit up so it's not in the way. And there you have the final diagram. Now, of course, if I were making this for a client, I would like sit and tweak and make sure everything's nicely lined up. But now that I'm at this point, I can download it to PowerPoint. And once it's in PowerPoint, it's totally editable. Any additional changes I want to make to the names of any of the actions, or like change the line weights or any of the things that I want to do, I can also do that in PowerPoint once I've exported it. We know PowerPoint it's a pain point for individuals to do all of the diagramming work in PowerPoint, but it's also really nice to be able to do final tweaking in PowerPoint of a diagram. And so you're able to do that. One last key thing I really want to show you here, Nikki, is the collaboration feature. So this is something that's really valuable to our clients. So I can click share here and I can find the colleagues that I have. Our VP of product is a guy named Adam Haynes. I'm going to share this with Adam. Adam, here's the upstream merger. Would love your reaction, please. And I'll click share. So Adam's going to receive an email invitation to share this. He can come in, he can edit it, we can edit it at the same time. And it allows for really deep collaboration on the source document, which is something that's very difficult to do in PowerPoint. And you don't have all the, the versioning issues and who's working on the latest version. Like this is going to be the authoritative version in BlueJ here of this diagram. The other really cool thing about having the ability to collaborate on workspaces that we see our customers loving is a lot of our clients have certain tastes and preferences for the kinds of templates that they want to use for their own diagrams, firm specific. And so firms can create a master set of templates that have all of the firm's preferred shapes and their preferred ways of going about diagramming, the consistent look and feel across all of the firm's diagrams, the firm's logo, that sort of thing. That can be all done for the firm by having one common set of templates in a templated workspace that they then share with all the users at the firm, which allows for consistency and the same look and feel, and really professionalizes the diagrams for that organization.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Ben. We will, for those of you watching, put a URL at the bottom that makes it easy for you to get in touch with Ben and the BlueJ team. Ben, thank you so much for coming along and providing us with a demo of BlueJ diagramming.
Thanks, Nikki. My pleasure.